We're live. And we're live. Sorry about the frog that jumped down my throat when I was least expecting it. Um, Welcome to the Writer's Life. Subscribe if you haven't already. Punch the like button and tap the bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on one single life-changing video. All right, they're not life-changing, but sounds good, doesn't it? So, a very serious topic today. Very serious. Serious as a heart attack, almost. Why do so many writers commit suicide? Why did Hunter Thompson kill himself? Why did Ernest Hemingway famously kill himself? And also more recently the guy who wrote what was it? The Corruptions or something like that? No, I wrote The Corruptions. I don't know. David Foster Wallace. I think he was one of those three namers. Only authors and assassins have three names, like Lee Harvey Oswald and David Foster Wallace. And funny how he assassinated himself. Ooh, the irony. Anyway, I don't want to make fun of it, because his family is probably still lamenting it. But anyway, and of course, so many others, who've killed themselves through the years. I know of at least one of my writing professors who at one point had a loaded pistol, the business end of a loaded pistol up his mouth, and he was gonna do the deed. So why do they do this? Why does anybody do this kind of stuff? Desperate times call for desperate measures. I would, I hate to use that cliche, but it all comes down to one thing. They have these desperate people, these desperate authors, no matter how good they are, no matter how not good they are. One thing is for sure, one thing they all have in common, they have no fucking control. They feel as though their career, their life is like a plane crash about to happen. And that's because they've allowed the system to take over their life, to control it, to manipulate it, to intimidate it, to be shat upon, literally. Well, not literally, but, pretty close to it. By the way, if I misspeak words, it's not because I'm a moron. It's because of this thing, and I got to deal with it for another 6 months while the bone graft takes. Because I ain't no spring chicken no more, so it takes a while for this thing to regenerate. And then they're going to screw that. I'm not looking forward to that day. Where was I? Okay, suicides. I can remember, 20 years ago when I was just completely dependent on the system and the many creeps who run it, the publishing industry, self-serving, an author is just a spreadsheet person author is just a number on a spreadsheet type person. How desperate I was. I couldn't make a dime. This is after being very successful, because my book didn't sell enough, I was shut out for a while. And I got pretty desperate, and I mean, I had little kids. I wasn't about to kill myself, but life wasn't great. And that's when I started the Moonlight series. And if anyone who's read Moonlight, not Moonlight Rises. What's the first one? Moonlight Falls. Wow, I couldn't remember that. I think I'm going through early Alzheimer's. What was this blog about anyway? Or what was this podcast about? Just kidding. Anyway, anyone who's read Moonlight Falls knows that it starts off with Moonlight trying to kill himself. But at the very end, he pictures his little boy and he pulls the gun away from his head, but he's drunk, so he pulls the trigger anyway, and a little piece of bullet lodges in his brain. So like every day now, that they can't operate on it. It's lodged beneath beside his cerebral cortex, causing him to make bad decisions at sometimes and even to pass out. But one day, if that little piece of bullet shifts, it could kill him. So therefore, every day he lives his life like every day is his last. That's part of the point of the series. I think I must have been channeling my inner Mannix. That's an old detective show from the '60s that I used to watch on reruns, like like late Saturday nights or something like that. That I forget the guy who was in it, but it was a cool show. I think he had a heart issue, like he could die at any minute. Anyway, I like that kind of concept. But anyway, um, but I was desperate because I was totally at the mercy of the system, which is write a book, and you need to polish that book for like forever and then hand it into your agent and hope your agent likes it. And that takes months and months and months. And then if he likes it or she likes it, they're going to suggest some changes and you better do them or they're not going to want to push your book. And then they're going to hand it to the publishers and that can take it forever. And 9 out of 10 times it's going to come back like, well, we really, really love Mr. Zandri's writing, but it just doesn't fit our list at the present time. And all too often that's the case. Like they have too many books with this subject already. And there are so many factors against you in the traditional sphere, even after you've become a success, that you really have no control. And a lot of writers find themselves like, well, I not only I no longer do I have any more decent ideas. I'm fucking broke. Um, I'm drunk, and I don't see a future for me. And meanwhile, like some young 30 something just scored $1 million deal along with the movies and the whole thing. And like I'm pushing middle age or I'm middle aged and like I'm just gonna be forgotten. And so therefore that's what happens. Hunter Thompson was like, I'm just not having fun anymore. He had become, I don't want to say washed up, but he had become uh, physically, he was just a mess. He was incontinent. His hips were gone. He had to use like a walker. He just had completely destroyed himself. Hemingway was mentally ill. He suffered through major depression. He had that awful shock therapy that erased his memory. And he was he relied on his memories, when he would write sentences, like the dust that rests on the leaves of the trees type thing, like that's just beautiful. Um, but everyone has their own reason, and almost all of it comes down to some sort of lack of control. I find the more control I take over my career, especially with my Bear Media company, and by working with publishers who are willing to take chances and who are loyal to me, that I haven't had a desperate moment in this business in years and years and years and years. If anything, life's going by too fucking fast. It's just going by way too fast. And you know why it's going by way too fast? Because I'm having too much fucking fun. Way more fun than anybody deserves. And in a few years, I'll be in my 60s, right? It's not that far away. And because I'm a writer and I'm never going to quit writing, I'm going to write until like hopefully I'll just face plant on my laptop. And Ben Sobiak, if you're out there watching, I want you to finish whatever book I'm working on. You're it. We'll work this out legally one day. But anyway, so like I'll be able to take like early retirement because I did work in the real world for like 15 years or whatever. So I have pretty decent Social Security payment coming. So I'm going to take that early retirement thing, technically speaking. And, but I'm not going to stop working. I'm going to be, making books for years and years and years, hopefully some decades. So I'm in a good, fortunate position. I'm in a position of total control. I'm in a position where I can just do this to anybody in the industry who tries to fucking step on me. Anybody. I don't think at this point anybody would dare cross me, but some are out there. And I feel badly for those people who still to this day swear only by the traditional system of the pre-2000s. I do not for the life of me get it. When there are so many opportunities and so many platforms to at the very least, like me, be a hybrid author. By all rights, I should just be completely indie, right? The only time I get a little desperate is like if it's a slow month. And I'm like, how much money am I making this month? But that to me is normal. That happens to anybody in any profession. It happens even to accountants. Boring accountants. All right, I'm so sorry for people who are accountants that I keep busting on them. Hey, some people like to crunch numbers for a living. Some people like to make words. There really isn't that much of a difference. It's just that writers are much more interesting. We tend to be better looking. We tend to be more adventurous. We tend to be more humorous. Unfortunately, some of us become desperate and we take our lives. But I'm not one of them. I got one of these. I just, I'm not going to have enough years to get it all in, unfortunately. So maybe I'll come back and have another life. Who knows? But please, if you're a writer out there and you're suffering from some sort of desperation or depression or something like that. I lived with a person for a lot of years who had depression, and she would have it for months at a time. And it was hard to live with that person. And my heart goes out to her. I would do anything I could to get a laugh out of her at times. But all too often I failed, but I still feel for her. But anyway, but if you're having any kind of trouble like that, please, a suicide hotline is available anywhere. Just Google it, suicide hotline, and get some help, because there's help available. And you have more control than you know about. You're not at the whim of a bookstore owner. You're not at the whim of an agent or a publisher, no matter big or small. You are you. You can do your own thing. All right. I've gone on too long. I'm going to go take a walk. All right. Tomorrow's Friday already. I got to do an AMA. I can't do it tomorrow, though, because it's going to be like a ski thing into Monday, the last of the season. So hopefully week after next. Who's this? Officer Clark. Nice video. Thank you. I hope you're serious. That's Mary, my friend. She was a colonel in the troopers. She's badass. Very pretty lady, but she's badass. She kicked my ass 7 ways to heaven. So I'm always nice to her. And she's like an expert shot, too. She says, stop. All right, I won't say anything good about you. All right. Anyway, she provides me with research on occasion in exchange for beer. Not a bad deal. Yes, I am serious. It came from the heart. Oh, thanks, Mary. I will talk to you hopefully soon. I hope you're skiing soon. She's an avid skier, just like me. But she's a better, like she skis like every day. She's crazy. No fear whatsoever. I'm afraid of a lot of things. But she's not. All right, you guys. I will talk to you guys tomorrow around happy hour. Ciao, ciao.